on the program structure contained in this brochure. The idea is that we should optimize the output of this conference. And for optimizing this output, certain things have to be kept in mind so that the output of this conference results in some actionable points and which are acceptable to the participants and result in some changes in the system, whether it is the parliamentary system or legislative system or the working of the constitution. First point I would like to make is that in respect of the what is called here the verticals under which various sessions, parallel sessions are going to be organized, there should be diversity of participants. Diversity in terms of the states, diversity in terms of gender, diversity in terms of the social structure, diversity in terms of political parties. So each of the sessions, parallel sessions, which will have approximately, I suppose, 100 persons, 100 participants or so, should contain this diversity in order to get the best output. Other comments I would like to make is that a brief note on each of the topics which have to be discussed should be prepared by a professional body. As Shivraj Patil ji has mentioned, there is Bureau of Parliamentary Studies in the Parliament, and there are similar bodies in the state legislatures also. Their assistance can be taken in preparing these brief notes on various topics, because they have access to very good libraries in their respective institutions and they can do this job very well. It should be also a brief point, bullet points on which will guide the discussion on those topics. Each of the sessions, it is expected, and I don't have to really say it, will have to be chaired by a senior legislator so that he is able to guide the discussion on the topic. In addition to that, I would recommend that each of the session should have at least one or two discussants who will set the ball rolling and who will guide the discussion or lead the discussion, so that the discussion that follows with the participation of the other participants leads to some conclusions and actionable points. Then, in order to optimize the output again, each of the sessions should have a rapporteur, and the rapporteur will keep the minutes of the meetings and maybe present it at one of the plenaries where the output of the various sessions is presented. Another point I would like to make, that I can make out from this brochure, that there are 4 verticals and each vertical has 30 parallel sessions. That means about 120 topics will be discussed. Now, if this event has to be an annual event and every year 120 topics have to be identified to be discussed, I think it will be a tall order. So there should be some pruning of topics as far as number of sessions, parallel sessions is concerned. There can be, same topic can be discussed in more than one session, and the two can be compared and compiled. Finally, looking at the various topics that have been suggested, I think there is shortage of sub-themes which address the optimization of the output of the legislatures. So a few topics have been discussed, but I would like to recommend 2-3 topics which could perhaps be discussed. One is, there is perpetual complaint that the number of sittings of state legislatures are very few. Even the number of sittings of parliament have gone down over the years. Now, several Commonwealth countries have a continuous session of parliament. There is no winter, monsoon and budget session, etc. They go on, and they are adjourned only when the Queen's address or the King's address now has to take place. Following from that, we can perhaps have one session every year, and it can be from February when the President addresses, and end with November or middle of December. And then there can be a gap of 1.5 months before the next President's address starts. Yes. Similarly, doing away with the system of all these disruptions, etc., which has been discussed, perhaps that could also be discussed as one of the topics. And maintaining the sanctity of the question hour, which has always been always been disrupted and continues to be disrupted again and again and many more times. So perhaps that issue also can be discussed, and similar other issues which have been discussed in the state legislatures, conferences and other such bodies, whips conferences, etc., time and again. Perhaps imprimatur of the state legislatures can be put on that, so that perhaps some output will result from that. Thank you very much.